I'm passionate about this education part. I like this product. There are people out there doing the right thing.
My biggest competition is time. And the price of materials have compounded drastically in the last 3 to 4 years over COVID.
There's so much education out there, you're right? Like you can go spend $500 on yourself.
Today, we are in Hobart, Indiana with one of the hardest working managing partners at Romans Roofing, Angelo Saia.
Hi, I'm Corey Getz. Today, we are sitting with a very inspiring young man who has worked super hard over the last 5 to 6 years in this industry to get to understand it better, and now is a partner in a multi-7-figure business where they mainly focus on roofing, siding, gutters, and renovations here in the Northwest Indiana and Illinois, Chicagoland area. Today, I have Angelo Saia with me, and thanks for taking the time to join me.
Oh man, I appreciate you coming up here. I know you're 2-hour drive, right?
Yeah, a couple hour drive up here this morning, but well worth the drive. I'm just happy you guys would be willing to have me and talk a little more about our industry.
Yeah, no, I love it. I mean, I can talk about this industry all day. So yeah,
exactly. Well, so you know, here at Romans Roofing, what do you do, and what drives you to do the work that you do?
So at Romans, I'm one of the partners out of the owner group. I hate saying that, but just for using it for context. But outside of that, I handle like the retail stuff, like anything that comes to not insurance, not repairs, a little bit of the repairs, but just help our guys with retail quotes, estimates, production aspect of it.
That's one of my favorite parts is the retail part. I like it. I think, when you're dealing with the retail customers, maybe you've experienced this, that it's not just another insurance job that somebody wants a free roof or just pay their deductible. Like these are people that really want to like improve their homes. They want them to look beautiful. They're looking for like a strong contractor in their community that they can lean on and trust.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's it exactly. And so those interactions for me are, it's the heavy side of that job, right? So it's exactly that. That's what kind of drives me, and even for the insurance jobs that kind of flow into retail, when these people are like, hey, I know they're paying for this, but can we do this? Like, creating that vision with somebody and then, implementing it and then giving them that final product, I think is still, for me, it's, I love that.
Yeah. And I find that really enjoyable too, because it's like, I can't tell you how many insurance jobs where somebody's like, yeah, I mean, I know I had vinyl siding and it got hit with hail, but I really like some Hardie board, or I want some fiber cement, or, I know my vinyl window got hit or whatever it is. And like, I want to upgrade, like I want to do something different. And I love those customers. Those are always my favorites.
Oh yeah. They're the ones that care, and there's some people that are just like, they're grateful for just that, hey, they can fix what's there and be done with it. But those people that are like, hey, I'm going to be here another 30 years, they want their house to be the nice house on the block, and there's just something fun about that. It's exciting to like really do those full, from, like you said, we've done quite a few Hardie jobs this year already, but when they do all Hardie and then they want a new fascia, soffit, they're going to change their gutters, and then they're doing also a new roof, and their house literally is a night and day project. Like it's, 1 week it looked like this, and then a week and a half later, it's completely different. And I have something to do with that. Like I sat there and helped them create this that they thought. And I think there's something it's just fun. That's fun to me. So
yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that. And, I find that a lot of those customers will like really take a lot of pride in their house. And it's usually pretty obvious who they are. Like I pull up and their landscaping looks good.
I was just going to say that. The landscaping people.
They actually cut their grass. They edged along their sidewalk. There's like this crisp edge, and I'm like, oh yeah, they may want to upgrade here.
I mean, it is. Like, you never want to, I'm super big on never judging a book by its cover, right? But I mean, it just, sometimes things are what they are. And you can tell when somebody, I can talk to them about this product for sure, and there's a good chance they're gonna at least listen.
Yeah, there's a lot bigger difference when they got like a broken down car in the front yard and the weeds and the whole grass became weeds and that's encapsulating this car.
Yeah, they just might want the fix and then be done.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
We're here to market and help everybody.
Yeah, and I think especially in today's day, there's just so many more people where their home values like have increased. So now it's like it just makes more sense for them to like start investing in their home. Like, oh, a hailstorm hit me, but you know what? Like I'd like to really upgrade the rest of my house since we're going to replace it all.
We've been obviously talking quite a bit now, but that's I was talking to my wife about it, but like that's exactly. So I just today's my birthday. I'm 36, and you told me already you're 38.
Yep.
But like that's kind of exactly where we are with the market right now because I've been in my home now 6 years, and it's. I got again. It's fun. It's just crazy. I got in when the market was low, so I have this great interest rate and all that. But
yeah,
it's like okay, well our home's now worth $100,000 more plus, and it's just crazy. So it's like what? That's our thought. Yeah. How should we invest this into our home?
Yeah,
because the money's in our home.
That's right.
And so that's been a huge thing with the people that we've encountered over these last couple of years. Just being here with Romans is just well, my house is worth more now. And I want to continue that.
Yeah.
As your family grows, me in particular, I have a 3-bedroom house, but I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
And we're moving our basement into a bigger living space and all that. But my wife's like, well, should we just add an addition?
Yeah.
Well, if we add that addition, like how do we want to tie in? Are we gonna we have cedar siding, but do we want to put on Hardie now?
Yeah.
And I know we keep talking about Hardie, but like that's just like those are the things that you talk about. Like we want to upgrade this to this nice thing because it's just going to make our house that much more valuable later.
Yeah. And what I've found in this industry is that people's homes are typically one of their largest investments, if not their largest. And when you look at, let's say you have a hailstorm or you just want to upgrade, that's typically one of the largest investments, either your siding, Hardie board, roofing. Those are typically some of the largest investments they'll make on their home. And, it's like if you've got an insurance company flipping the bill already for what they have, and it's like, well, we could get you upgraded here for this much more, it's really closing that gap on how much they have to invest back in. And I think the real value for them is long term as that home appreciates in value. So does the cost of materials and labor. So, I tell people all the time, it's like, people ask me all the time in my market, like, Corey, who's your biggest competition? And my biggest competition is time. It's the fact that the price of materials have compounded drastically in the last 3 to 4 years over COVID. I mean, we were quoting jobs that were like 20, 30 grand. Now they're like 40, 50 grand because the people decided to wait. And, as this compounds, in my opinion, it'll continue to grow. And so it's like, hey, if you want to invest, it's actually not just investing the money you have and you get, on average, like an 80% return on investment, but it's that investment will now compound because of you bought the materials and the labor at that price point, and you don't have to pay the compounding on it.
No, you're 100% right. So, we talk to homeowners and they're always, you never want to be salesy, but that's like one of my biggest niches with them. It's like, hey, your home value comes from obviously the area you live in, right? There's a lot of these like economic portions of it, but it's your curb appeal, it's kitchens and bathrooms. Those are typically, there's like the whole like fundamentals of like how much your home, but whatever, but like your curb appeal, and so, we're also, and we've been talking a lot about Hardie, but we're GAF Master Elite, we had to get those certifications for that, to put on these shingles the right way, to actually, make sure we're doing this stuff proper. And we're working with our local Hardie Rep to try to get us to that next level with Hardie. And so it's, we want to be that upper echelon company for people that, for a multitude of reasons, like, when I do my personal stuff for my own house, like I don't necessarily need the guy that's been around for 55 years, but sometimes you don't want the guy that's only been around a year. Yeah. But if they have been, well, what value do they bring? If obviously someone that's been doing this for a long time, that's their value, right? Like we talked about time. Like they've been doing it. You do anything over and over again, you hopefully you are good at it.
Yeah.
But
otherwise the reviews will show it, right?
Exactly. But,
Google's real these days.
Dude, Google is so real. But if you've only been doing it, a few years, it's like, well, you know, what credentials do you have? You know, who is backing you? You know, we're fortunate that we have, you know, local suppliers in our area that, you know, back us, right? These are big corporations, you know, Beacon, ABC, SRS, like these companies don't just want to, you do work with us. You know, obviously again, everyone wants to make money, but the support we get from these guys is because, you know, they entrust in us and that we're going to do a good job, because at the end of the day, like, where do we get our material from? Them, you know, and was like GAF, you know, this is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. So for them to invest in us as like a, you know, a master elite contractor, that should hopefully translate to a homeowner when they're looking for, you know, for those contractors and how they want to, you know, to kind of bring it back, you know, how do they want to make their home that, you know, nicest house on the block? Well, you know, he doesn't necessarily have to be that guy that's been there, you know, who has those like credentials? Like, who's the guy that's taking time out of their life? Because running a business isn't easy. Yeah. You know, getting to these trainings and getting, you know, certified, it takes time, you know, but those are the things that, for like me personally, I can say that. And I know us as the company, that's part of like our mantra, right? But like, I care about that stuff, you know. It's like, hey, I know exactly how to do this. Yeah. And it's not just because I'm telling you, it's because like they showed me, like the people that are the experts on this like system helped make me an expert in the system.
And that's why they now trust us to offer you that extended warranty.
Exactly.
Right? And, you know, I think like what you said about, you know, sometimes there are these contractors, they've been out here in business for 55 years and you go to talk to them and they go, I've been doing this for 55 years the same way. I know exactly what I'm doing. It's like, well, hold on. Have you been to the recent trainings? Because the recent trainings have shown that there's new technology and there's new research, and it shows that we should actually be doing it differently than the way we did it 55 years ago. Do you guys find that?
Sometimes, not too often. You know, again, we live in a really weird market in Northwest Indiana because we're so close to the city. But then, you know, you drive, you know, an hour and a half south and we're in a different time zone. We're in a completely different, just like cultural, economic area. It's Northwest Indiana is so eclectic. Like you have areas that are super high quality and super, you know, low. And again, it's just where we live, right? Things aren't sometimes what they are. And so, you get people that are, I'm going to go with them. Like, it doesn't matter what you show them. They're like, I'm going to go with a 55-year-old company because of just that. But it's like, you know, some people don't want to accept that, well, things are changing, you know, like just in all aspects. We still have people that they want that aluminum siding. I've had it on my house for 50 years. Yeah, but like, it's not good. Yeah. Like, you know, there's a reason that they don't make it anymore. You know, it's not because there isn't, well, it is because there's not a value there. It's not helping you. Yeah. And, you know, trying to explain that again, literally for Hardie, like, hey, this is something that is better. Like it was made better. This fiber cement is better.
Yeah. And, you know, with Hardie, it's like Hardie has been installed in North America for over 30 years now. And they've changed that installation manual multiple times because they spend over $25 million a year on research and development. So what they found is the way they thought was the best way to put it up 30 years ago is not actually the best way. And so they continue to improve on that. And it's like, if you don't stay in that learning stage, that it's like, you can easily be overconfident and, you know, possibly give a homeowner a bad install. And so it's just like, you know, like you said, like working with the Hardie Reps, I think is great. You know, and just
shout out to JT.
Yeah. Shout out to JT. Good job, JT. Way to help him so far. Cause it sounds like you guys have already had some success with Hardie.
Yeah. So it's one of those things, you know, it's kind of like, even just, again, the easiest thing for me to compare it to is like with GAF, right? Hey, it's a big name company. They're obviously, you know, known around the country, but you know, how do you get to that spot? Well, you have to start by just asking those questions, you know, reaching out. Hey, how do I get to this level? This is how you do it. And we've been able to, over the years, build a good relationship with JT. I know him personally. You know, he lives here in, you know, Northwest Indiana. Yeah. But, you know, he's helped us, you know, do some of the trainings, like get our hands on, you know, the material and like, you know, explain like, this is how it's supposed to be done. You know, these are the pros, these are the cons. These are for the people that are listening that might be like, are still, you know, you know, not saying they want Hardie, you know, because of the past stuff. It's like, hey, they had a bad marketing, you know, thing for a little while. Yeah. And it was like, well, this is what's changed. And you find a lot more people now because, you know, you brought up Google. It's like that you can't hide anything anymore. Yeah. You can't lie. And I think that's been my favorite thing with everything encompassing this industry is that you just can't lie. Yeah. You know, everything's out there now. So like, if you just take the 10 minutes to do a little bit of research, and anyone listening, in all aspects of your life, anything you think you know about, just take 10 minutes and like Google it a little bit, right? Yeah. it's not a bad product. It's actually a really good product.
Yeah.
And, you know, a very short time in like the Chicagoland market, it was like just frowned upon.
Yeah, I remember there were like videos going on where they had like a sledgehammer as their competition, which we're not going to mention their name.
Yeah.
But they would like have this board up there and they put a sledgehammer and like fall into it and break the Hardie board. And it was like, but that's not installed in the system the way that the manufacturer recommends. Why are you making it look bad? You know, like
there's a bunch of things exactly that are taken out of context, right? But again, you can talk about that with anything. But
and now I see these videos where I think even Demetrius did one where he like showed Hardie board against other one. Was like, well, yeah, but this isn't actually the right install. So testing it that way, but it's easy, you know, to shift that view in a video, right?
But you have to get the knowledge to be able to do that, right? I can't convince you something. I can't convince any of my, my homeowners, the people I'm fortunate to hopefully attempt to work with. If I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And so if I can't look at it from their perspective, and even like I said, the negative stuff from 20 years ago that they might still be in the back of their head. Yeah. How do I shift their focus? How do I convey to them that I know what I'm talking about? Well, I have to look at it from their perspective, right? That's how you do any type of debate or argument or anything, So it's being able to, work with these local reps and, just learn this stuff. And it's opened my eyes to it. Like I said, I've always kind of been a proponent of it. I thought it was a nice product, but to actually learn more about it and, learn the nuts and bolts, have these reps come on, I'm like, yes, there was this false pretense back then. And like, hey, this is what it actually is. Like, and then get on Google and just, hey, it's there. It's true.
Yeah. And the nice part about Hardie or GAF is, you're talking about multi-billion-dollar companies and they care a great amount about their product. And the nice part is they spend a lot of time with us. They create these programs where they will, allow us to work through the ranks and help us all the way through from the first nail and the first board or the first shingle. And I just think that's huge for them.
And again, you're substantially more versed in Hardie than I am. Like, I'm not going to sit and say that I am, but I think that's one thing that for anyone that does actually watch this, I don't think people get that these companies do that.
Yeah.
I think that's such like an underrated thing that I might not have ever talked about till right now, honestly, because for me, it's just, that's what they do.
Yeah, we take it for granted.
Yeah, I know. That's exactly what, taking it for granted. But no, he's right. So like they come out for those first few jobs, like to help you train it. It's not just your rep. No, they bring like actual guys.
Yeah, guys that are specific to installation.
To help you, because again, I've been in this for 6 years. I haven't been building houses and all that, this for my whole life, right? Like, and I don't say that I do.
Yeah.
But I've been able to be a part of this culture of people that are trying to make everyone better.
Yeah.
And that's what I think goes overlooked. So when homeowners, ask that, it's no, like they entrusted in us. Like, we don't just get to these levels just willy nilly.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But you're right. We take that part of it for granted. Yeah. We really do. And till just right now, you just don't know what you don't know, right? And so that thought just came in, like, yeah, they do. They come out here and like make sure I didn't screw this up. Like, to give that homeowner, that self, that sense of confidence, I guess, that it's going to be done right.
Yeah, and I was down in Boca Raton back in February for the contractor summit where they bring together some of the top contractors from the whole country together that are in Elite Preferred, and one of their vice presidents of sales came up. Mr. Madsen, John Madsen came up and he made this whole presentation and a lot of what it had to do with was, look, we understand during COVID, it was a tough time. They had a hard time getting out to market to help us, but they're going to double down now and they're trying to help contractors more than ever, and that's a big deal because, we talked about this a little earlier with like another contractor that you've helped out. And it's like, sometimes we feel like the help's not there or whatever. And that's one of the nicest parts about like Hardie or GAF, is they're like, hey, I'm here to help you and I'll teach you and I'll go over the top. And that's part of their business model. It's really nice to see that. I really appreciate it when Mr. Madsen was talking about that at the Elite Preferred Hardie Summit was, look, we want to support you. And if your local Hardie contractor, I'll say this again, if your local Hardie contractor hasn't been meeting with you to know where your business is or where you want to go, you should be calling your local Hardie rep and figuring it out because they want to help you. Right?
Well, that goes for all of them. Like, it goes for anybody. So if you're in like roofing, siding, if you're in this niche of like this construction industry, right? Like, And again, we spoke a lot, so I got to make sure I don't take that part for granted either. Like, so I used to work at ABC personally, right? So I've been on that side. Like, your reps there, like, they're incentivized to help you. Like, they want to help you. So it's not even just like these manufacturers, it's the suppliers too, you know? And so they come to you and they talk to you and they're offering these trainings. Like, it's because if you're better, it makes them better. And it's people understanding that, like, as long as it's a people helping people type of industry. And I think that for a long time, and this is well before we were in this industry, it was just like, it's me. How am I going to be, you know, how do I make myself the best? And a contractor did reach out and he was like, you know, how? And I'm like, you're doing it. You just didn't have anyone else telling you you're doing it the right way. Yeah. And, you know, Romans is like super fortunate. You know, we got connected, you know, we got connected with Dimitri, and again, he has a big presence, and we've been connected with these great people all over our industry. And that's one thing I can say, like, wholeheartedly right now that, like, I don't take for granted. You know, I have built a great relationship with my reps at ABC and even some of the reps at Beacon, you know. And again, it's easy for me to say ABC, I work there, right? Like, I know these people personally, but no, you know, there's genuine people there that they just want what's best for you. Because again, does it help them make money? Sure. But like, the people that I've met, I've built like a relationship with where it transcends that. It's not just that. It's like today, you know, like, I got a happy birthday from some people that have no business wishing me a happy birthday, but it was someone that I was associated with before. And it's because they genuinely care, right? So it's building that culture. And you see that with everyone that, you know, again, in this weird market up here, we have really fortunate that we have these good contractors and these good suppliers and these good, you know, GEF is right down the road in Michigan City. Yeah. You know, we went and did a whole plant tour there, and it was fun to see that process, but they offer that, like, to help you, to like get you that information. And it's such like a neglected space, I feel like, because everyone just looks at it as like, as lucrative as it is, like, it's just about money. And it's like, man, like, you're not. Yeah.
Well, and it's easy for it to look that way. I mean, right now we've got venture capital coming in like crazy into it. And, you know, not that we're really going to talk a lot about that, but we see it. It's just, it is a very lucrative business. You can make a lot of money. But, you know, a lot of times, the only people I've ever seen make a lot of money in this industry are the people who do it right. And the people who don't, and they don't get involved and they don't network, a lot of times I just don't feel like those are the guys who grow as much. And I may be wrong, but that's just what I see.
No, I think you're right. It's crazy. Because I was driving here thinking about that today. Like, it's actually storming this morning. It's obviously nice out, the sun's out now, but I was thinking about that because it's like, you know, we're doing podcasts now. Like, again, I know we were preaching about Google, and I don't want to sound old, right? But like, the times have changed, like, for us, you know, they really have. And so, you know, we have competitors out here, and, you know, I truly, honestly, I mean that in my heart, like, yes, you're a competitor, but like, I don't try to look at anything as like a competition. There's so many homes, there's so many people to help. Like, and I will say that there's only so many good contractors, right? So like, if you're going to pick one of the better ones, like, you hopefully are in good hands, right? But to your point with these older contractors that have been around for these years, like, they were doing something right at one point. I do think it was, they were doing it right. Yeah. You know, but nowadays it's with Google, with like, if 1,000 people watch this, like, that's 1,000 more people that we reach that maybe aren't right here in Hobart, Indiana, you know, aren't in this little area. They might be in between where we're both from. Yeah. Like, to me, that still blows my mind, right? Like, could just stumble across a video, stumble across a podcast or whatever, and, you know, get more information on something they didn't know.
So I want to transition a little bit, though. Yeah. So, you know, you know, like you say, you've been in the industry 5-6 years now. It's definitely something you've grown in. What inspires you to stay in this industry and continue to push?
It's honestly, it's the helping people. My wife, you know, we talk about it all the time. Like, she's like, you would have been a good teacher. Like, I like that. Like, there's something about that, helping someone learn something new. And just like the quick story behind that is when I first got into this, I was a canvasser. For people that don't know what that is, like, I just door knocked. I helped sales. I helped some other guy make a bunch of money is what I did. And one of these ladies I met, she was right here. She's East Chicago, Indiana, like local right around here. But she, husband had passed. She's an older woman. To try to wrap it up quick, is just she had, you know, aluminum siding, you know, old 3-tab, organic roof, you know, it just this beat up house, right? And this is when one of these specific insurance company was better than they are now. We'll leave it at that, right? And I'm just sitting here like, I've been doing this a little while. I know, you know, how to like sell this. And so I'm talking to her, and she has this little red Mustang, right? and she's sitting there, and her kids aren't, they come up to help when they can, but again, she's living in this house for 30 something years. Well, to make a long story short, I had asked her, well, why didn't you? And like her response was, I just didn't know. And I was like, you've been paying your homeowner's insurance, and they're taking money from you. And I was like, wouldn't you, if you got into like an accident in your car, and I know any of our guys here are gonna laugh because it's always like the same, I use like the same examples, but I was like, if you got into this like little accident with your car, you for sure would call your insurance to get that fixed.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, yeah. And I was like, well, why didn't you do that to your house? And, and she just looks at me, and I'm telling you, like, if anyone has a grandma out there, like, some of these looks, and like this old woman, she just like, I just didn't know. Yeah. And I was like, this is crazy. Because again, I just bought a house, and I'm very fresh. I didn't know much about homeowners insurance. I knew I had to have it, and that's the truth. And I think that's what most people have. But it was like, it was helping her, and then obviously go through the process, which I obviously I learned a lot more about that, and how this all works. But it was at the end, like, she had a whole facelift, and then when I got to go back, because again, I'm still technically like a canvasser, but like learning sales. And so, I went back after everything was done, and like she hugged me, like she's crying, and I'm just like, this is insane. Like I just remember, like, and I'll never forget it. Like I'll never forget how this whole thing happened. And I was like, yeah, this is for me. I can do this. And it, people look at this as like, there's this like gray cloud over like our industry sometimes. And it's just, I couldn't think it's any farther from the truth. And I truly mean that. And that's one thing. And I want to touch on, like, the people that I work with kind of have that same mindset, right? There's no greater feeling than being able to help somebody. And, people look at us like, they want to say, oh, you're waiting for that. Oh, yeah, sometimes there's some truth to that, right? It's how I make a living, right? It's how I literally feed my family out of it. Yeah. Because, retail only goes so far. And, for people that aren't in this industry and they don't know, like, yeah, people want to upgrade their homes. But there's other ways to do that. And, I always go back to that lady, and I was like, yeah, I could do this. And as I went on, there were just so many people that are just really ignorant. I don't want to make this whole thing about insurance, whatever, but like, they just don't understand how that works. Like they just have no clue. And, once I met her, and it was just, like I said, when she said that, like, I just didn't know. There was no lie to that. She genuinely had no idea that she should have called them.
Right.
And, she was fortunate at the time that there was a new hailstorm. And again, there's lots of stuff we could talk about with that, but it was, we got it fixed, right? She had a brand new roof, all new siding. And it was just to help her. And, just to see, again, when you come back, she's crying, hugging you.
Yeah.
I'm not even her sales rep.
I know, right?
I'm the guy that was there the first day, and I just came back later. And like, she was still very nice to, he's actually one of my partners now. He was helped me get into this. Shout out Elijah.
Elijah.
But he knows the story. I helped cut this lady's grass because I was like, my mom would like roll over in her grave. Like, she's like, again, this old woman, like she's like 80 years old, like cutting her grass. I'm like, I'll cut your grass. I'll help. He'll talk to you a little bit, right? But it just, that's it. And I can say that every move I've made in this, this is going to be my 6th summer, which you alluded to or whatever, but it's just been the opportunity to help somebody else. And yeah, if I can make a little money about it, it's great. Like most people are going to tell you, like, that's the last thing. And it's not because I have a lot of money. I just never put my life into money. That's just not what I care about. Like, that's just not who I am. I'm sorry that was a long-winded answer, but like, that's good. Like, yeah, dude, there's no better feeling than like being a part of someone's life. And I think even other people in this industry, because they just look at it for money.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's so much more to it, There's so many families. And again, like, we talked about Northwest Indiana. Yeah, there's a lot of really wealthy subdivisions around here. Multi-million-dollar homes that people from, the Chicagoland area come and have had summer homes here, like, it's a crazy world that we live in. It's a crazy area we live in. But there's a lot of people that are, blue collar, that are just, especially now, maybe not struggling, but they're just, they got to watch what they're doing. And if I can help them by utilizing something that they already have, what kind of person would I be to not help share that information, right? And it's
almost kind of like, I've had the experience where it gets addicting, because it's like, you help one person and then you go see the next problem. It's the same thing all over. It's like, oh, I can help you. Don't worry, I can help you here. And then it just kind of gets into this, like, I just constantly want to help people do this. I want to help them get a good project. I want to help them get what they want and need, right?
It's the best. And like I said, it's fun for the people that have it, right? And and I always try to like make that really clear. It's like, I'm not saying that anyone's better than anybody else or anything like that, but it's just some people are in a better financial situation than others, right?
Yeah.
So when we get to have those talks where, you know, and I've been more surprised as of late because again, it's almost like counterintuitive, right? Like everything in like our industry is changing. Money, you know, prices are getting high. I'm sorry, that thing keeps going off. You know, things are more expensive or whatever, and you know, house values are high, but the rates are high also, and you know, jobs and like there's a whole bunch of economical stuff. But it's like people want to still invest in themselves, and it's hey, let's take this $20, or I'm sorry, this $20,000. All you have to spend now is 10, and we're going to do a $30,000 project, and now you have maybe a higher grade shingle. You're putting Hardie on your house, and I think it's the numbers that people really don't know. That if they just knew, and that's again a big proponent. And we were talking earlier, is that kind of what drives us too? Is like that education to be like, you already think it's going to be $30,000. It really was only 20.
Yeah.
Now I'm giving you something that you maybe only hoped of.
Yeah. And we can get you a payment for that already where you don't have to refinance your home.
Exactly.
Right? And so then it's like they're sitting, they want to put 10 grand in, maybe it's around $100 a month. And now they're able to like make this happen. I've even seen homeowners, I don't know if you've seen this happen, where homeowners will, they get 20 grand from the insurance company and they're making pretty good money at the time, but they just haven't had a whole lot of money lately. They've been going through tough times. And so I've seen people where they'll take their insurance check, they'll go on vacation with it, and then they finance the whole project.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'd rather just have this on a monthly payment across the board and just pay for it. And then I can use this 20 grand my insurance company paid me, and I can go take my kids on vacation. I can pay off my kid's car. I can afford to pay their tuition this year for college, right? And I've seen people take that money and do it, but still at the same time be responsible and invest in their home, get it fixed so they get their recoverable depreciation.
Exactly. Well, you said it. I mean, you said that there's a lot of bigger parts to that. Yeah. And it's kind of unfortunate, but that goes to like our society, right? Being financially responsible, being taught that stuff. Like I wasn't. Like I've screwed up a lot in my life. And people that know me can vouch to that, right? But there are people that do that, but that's also us knowing that. Because people hear about their insurance. Well, I don't want to touch the check, just to take it and just get it done. Because like there's this big like fear monger out there, and I will say that like the insurance companies for them did a great campaign over all this time, because they make people think that our homeowners insurance is something that you just give me money for,
right? And
you're not supposed to use it, and all these crazy things. But yeah, more homeowners have done that now, and I'm proud to say that I've offered that. Hey. They're going to write like, hey, dude, your roof and siding. I think people don't realize, again, the price of things, but hey, we're going to get a check for $20,000. You can take that check, and if you did want to do that addition to your house, you have that money now to do that. Or you can roll it into a lump sum and make it a small monthly payment. Like there's so many more options with, financing things, and we're still doing it. Because at the end of the day, for people that don't know, is with your insurance, you have to just do the work. That's it. To get the money at the end, you just got to do the work. And so I try to make things, my wife hates it. I try to make things black and white, and we live in a very gray world, and I know that, right? But it's just, as long as you do it, that's it. That's the catch. Yeah. You pay your small portion, which is your deductible. They pay what they, in contract, right, said they would. Yeah. And all you have to then do is do it. Yeah. And then so when you get people like me and Corey, and we go to help you with all that, but like it's like just even this, and I know like you're kind of smirking, not smirking in like a bad way, but I just can feel the vibe where it's like, like that's it. And it's, that's been a big push with us. And that's why we're happy that, we are able to do this, because I'm super passionate about that education part. And like I said, I could literally talk to you all day about it, because like people just don't get that stuff. Like they don't have enough people telling them just the truth behind it. Yeah. And I think that's like, you saying that again, you can't tell, like, I feel like I'm like more like geared up about it, because it's like, yeah, you can. Yeah. That trip you've been wanting to take your kids on, that you're like, well, how can I, this thing's not cheap. It's like $5,000 just to get there. Yeah, you got,
yeah, exactly.
And hey, we can help you with that. Maybe you couldn't get a loan, right? Maybe it's not because your credit's terrible. Maybe it's just not great right now. Like, there's so many factors, and it's like, I know I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not that, but like, I want to be the guy in some weird way that maybe helped you do things that wasn't just this one project. And my other partners might say, yeah, Angelo, that's also your problem, is you want to help and do all those things. But I'm like, this is where we live. Like, this is, I lived in this town for, a long time. My son was born in this town. He played, we sponsored a bunch of stuff here in Hobart. Yeah. Because he played baseball here. We do golf outings here. And now I live in Crown Point, down the road, but it's like, I still was a part of this. I'm still very much, Northwest Indiana is where I've called home, for all these years. So it's like, I want to help all these communities. Like I said before, it doesn't have to just be the super ritzy ones. Like,
yeah,
these are still nice small towns. They're just, they're still just small towns.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they can't be a great small town.
Yeah.
And if I can help those people in there by just talking to them, educating them on things that they just don't know, not because they're stupid or something.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know what you don't know.
Because they're all just people too. We're all just humans.
Yeah. No, 100%. And the amount of people that I've met doing this that have helped me in some weird way, like whether it's I need a fence contractor but it's true. Again, that. Like you meet people in the weirdest ways, but I feel like you're like me. You're very open and you like to talk, right? But there's a lot of people that are, taken back by that.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of people that maybe, again, I go to like my old lady stories, but you don't know what happened in people's lives, You might have knocked on somebody's door and somebody just passed away and they just wanted someone to talk to.
Yeah.
And maybe it is just about their roof and their siding.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, just there's so much about this job that has like been so great to me in so many areas of my life that I'll never leave this industry. Like if Romans were to fail tomorrow and we go bankrupt, I'm still going to be I'm going to be doing this. It's too.
We'll cut that part out for your wife, though.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
Lauren, I love you. All those changes got us here. All right. So we talked about that a little bit off camera too.
Yeah, off camera. But
that's fun.
I think that's a common thing we see with people in this industry where it's like, sometimes significant others don't always see, like how rewarding it is. And they see some of the stress we come home with and, because it's hard to leave that stress at the door sometimes, but it's a really rewarding job.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like it can it's just a hard thing to give up once you get into
it. It is. And I mean, you touch on something there is, with the stress of that. And because again, I have good friends. I've had the same friends since, growing up, and we're all very close knit. And my wife, my ex, like everyone that's been like a significant person in my life still barely knows what the hell I do.
Yeah.
They still don't get it.
Yeah.
And I know you're like, all right, what's he going to say? Like this emotional thing coming. No, I hope that people that I know watch this and like get that. Because there's so much more to it than just I help people put on roofs. You know what I mean? Like I'm scamming the insurance, whatever the hell they want to say that I do. And I'm like, that's not what I do.
Yeah.
Like that's not actually at all what I do.
Exactly.
There's so much to it. But you said something about, God, I don't know exactly what you just said, but the stress. Yeah, when we come home with stress, like people don't get that. So we just had a storm actually, Michigan City. I know we kind of talked about that
2 days ago, right?
Yeah, yesterday. It was 2 days ago. I'm sorry. And it's 3.5 inch hail, and you're going to people's their canopies and stuff had holes through it from this hail, and I think that's one thing that. I'm not a doctor, right? I'm not these these crazy things that are really involved in people's lives in super emotional ways. But, someone's house is emotional, right? Like I've been through an insurance claim in my own house and it's not, my house wasn't going to fall over and I'm going to lose it, but it's still stressful. And I'm putting myself in that situation, right? Now, is it beneficial to me? Sure. Again, there's a reason we do what we do, right? We all want to have to hopefully make money and live a good life. But that other stuff, maybe you call it crazy. And because again, I think you have the same sentiment I do is and I do enjoy helping people, but I'm now involved in that person's life for it could be a couple weeks, it could be a couple months, it could just be for whatever reason. But for the ones that have the problems, people don't get that, we're just a contractor or, they use some PA company or I'm some sales rep, whatever the case is, you're helping someone go through sometimes really hard times. I've helped people that had to go live in a hotel with their kids.
Yeah.
And, and I might be only doing a small portion of it, but to them, I'm helping get their home fixed. And people don't get that. Yeah, you're helping them, but you don't know the toll that it takes on you sometimes. Because I've been and, we make silly jokes here and, we've had people pass away.
Yeah.
And then you have to go meet, their family members. And they're and this is a true story. We've gone to retirement homes and things like that, and people are someone on their deathbed. Yeah. But their siblings are there, or their daughter, and well, they still want to. I know it sounds crazy, and I'm not trying to make light of it. They're well, they still want to get it done. And then there's also something to be said about that, where it's also then more prideful on me. This guy's dying, and he's leaving this house to his kids, and he wants to make sure it's taken care of. Like, if that doesn't give you some type of fucking fulfillment, and like, but that happens. Like I can say that's happened personally here with some of the reps that we have, and we joke about that, but it's like when you really think about what's going on, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that is so crazy, and you're a part of that.
Yeah.
And if you can like take that with you and be like, I do help people. I help people in like some crazy situations. That being one of them, I think is just, again, I keep coming back to that, but I don't think we think about that all the time. Like how impactful we can be, and that we're not just some contractors, that are trying to push, Hardie board on your house. It's like, no, man, like that old guy's doing it because like there's a backstory to that.
Yeah.
That you don't always know.
100%. I can tell you one customer in mind, Mr. Bocock, and some people would look at him as a very wealthy guy. He's done well for himself. But when he called us to come put new siding on his house, it was because he had been through some health issues, and his biggest concern was that his wife would have to survive him and then deal with the maintenance on their home they've lived in for 30 years. And then the next year he called me back and he said, I'm ready to do the roof now, right? And there was no hail. He just needed a new roof. What are we doing the roof for, Larry? Well, my wife is going to live longer than me. It's very clear. And like, I don't want her to have to deal with this. And plus, Corey, I like you a lot. And I know you're going to be here to stand behind this warranty.
Yeah.
So now I know she's got somebody that has her back. And, I've changed light bulbs out for them since then, and it's like, yeah, I'm just changing light bulbs and I just put on their siding and their roof. But at the end of the day, like they know if they need anything, they can call me. Yeah. And you're right. It just, one thing I do when I go out to meet with our potential customers or customers that we've already signed a contract with is, I look at it as if I'm creating a lifelong friend here, because a lot of times I am, and when I first started getting into this business, I looked at it like, so I'm doing one roof for them. I'm doing one siding job for them. And I thought that I was only doing one job for them, which I may only put on one roof. I may only put siding on once. But they all may want to get their roof done later. They may want to get their siding done later, and they may want more projects. And so I started realizing I was building this long-term connection. But then I started realizing that I can build these friendships with these people. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, I was like going to like special events with them, or like inviting them to my special events. And it's like, these people are so important. I remember one time we did a charity cook-off for like barbecue, and we sent an email to all our customers. I couldn't believe how many of these people showed up. I hadn't seen them in so long. And then I was like, I can't believe you guys showed up. And then our team raised more money than anybody else in that whole thing, because all these people just came and started donating. It was like, well, I didn't know, and so it really is like a legacy that we build with our companies. And, I think that's what is the most rewarding part.
So rewarding. And I mean, I can just, like I said, a little bit, we know about each other. So I have those stories for anyone else that ends up coming in and, let's say, talks with you about it. I've helped people fit their toilets. Like, it's insane. And like, they always give me crap about it. And then they're like, well, did you even sign them? Did they even sign a contract with you? No.
Nope.
But like,
just helping people,
just helping her. And you know what? There's a good chunk of those people that I helped that initial time that called back later. Right. Yeah. And it's, who are we to just be like, I just figured it out. Yeah. That's just not what it's about, man. And I think that's just so funny to say that, because I've made some really like good relationships, and they probably could have lasted longer, but again, at some point you got to kind of try to cut off working there. But no, I've gone out to lunch. I've got, I've had a beer in somebody's house, and they're just like, dude, come in, like talking about sports with them. And it's a weird niche. And I think, again, people look at our industry and this like weird, they're construction guys. They're rough around the edge. They're, they do drugs, they drink. And again, some of that's true, right?
Yeah, like there's people in the industry that do it, yeah.
It's the truth. But there's people in every industry that do that, right? So and I think that's just, people have to, remember that. And they all know, the amount of people that like I talk to after the fact is obnoxious. It's crazy, but it's what's so great about it,
Yeah. And those people refer us a bunch of business as well, too. So it's like you build that relationship and they give us back 10 times more, whether it's the emotional side or even the financial side. And that's what's great about this business is it's a business where you can do more for others than they'll do for themselves, and they'll love you forever for
Yeah.
it. You know?
No, you're 100% right. You know, I helped people get their school roof taken care of. You know, it was a big, long fight. But now I had thought about enrolling my kids there, and I was like, I still have her number.
Yeah.
Like, you just like, there's like so many little things. Like, hey, you know, I'm not saying it's going to work. I'm not saying you shouldn't pull any strings, but like, that's crazy. I made a contact with somebody because I worked with them for 6 months, and you know, she felt confident enough to let me use, you know, have her personal number for like other things, and it's like,
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think the number one thing that anybody trying to do a construction project is looking for when they're selecting a contractor is trust.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, there's no better way to build trust than to build a relationship with somebody. Be honest with them. This is who I am. You can get to know me, and I think it pays dividends.
No, I mean, trust is huge. And I think that's like the number one thing someone should do when they're picking a contractor. You're right. Like if we're going to like talk about something like that, like how do you choose which contractor? Like, I mean, did you even like them? Like, I mean, were they likable? Like, start there. And then after, you know, going back to like the internet, get on Google, you know,
do some research,
see what they are good at, see what they're not good at, you know, see what the reviews say, right? You know, I'm super proud that we have the highest rank. We have a 4.9, and you know what? We're not perfect. We have 250 Google reviews.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's been a few people that were upset with stuff, and there's only so much we can do about that. You know, can't make everybody happy. We try.
Right.
But, you know, when you look at that, one bad review is going to put a 5-star to a 4.9, right?
That's right.
We got a couple bad ones. I'm not shying away from that.
That's right. I got a couple in mind. I mean, you know, but I think sometimes there's some people you can't always make happy, and sometimes their view is different than our view. And,
exactly.
You know, I think, and that's where I think that's good that they average them all, because then it ends up showing
exactly.
Like, overall we're 4.9 out of 5. We can't always make everybody happy, but we're certainly going to do our best.
But go, you know, I actually encourage people, and that's something I tell them, you know, go on Google, look at our reviews to the next guy, right? You know, who's taking time to actually write that. That's the other thing. You got to get that person to actually take the time, whether it's only 5 minutes, go do that. Not everyone wants to do that.
Yeah. It's easy to get bad reviews. It's hard to get somebody to leave a good review.
That's a fact, dude. That is 100% a fact.
So, so what do you think are some common misconceptions or mistakes, just misconceptions maybe more about roofing contractors?
Yeah, I think that, you know, we touch on it a little bit, but just, you know, that we're all out to get money. We, you know, no one that genuinely cares, that, you know, everyone's an alcoholic. You know, it's these really, I know, like really boring and mundane things, but again, that's just what you hear, right? Like there's no care. There's no real, like backbone to it. It's just, hey, they're just trying to make, you know, some money.
Yeah.
And the people that I've met, at least, and speaking for myself, especially, like that couldn't be farther from the truth. Right. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I think those are some of the biggest ones, you know, that we're just a bunch of guys that didn't make it somewhere else. And so we landed in this industry.
Yeah.
And it's like, some of it's true, but to be successful at it, you had to do a lot more than just fall into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that you're 100% right. You know, in this industry, look, there is, in certain areas more than others, lower barrier of entries to get into it. You know, a lot of times, you know, you are going to find some of the people in tough times that need some quick money or whatever. And so they make their way into the industry, and some of them do have drug or alcohol issues. But like you said, I think that's in every industry, but this one particularly seems to be a magnet for people with tough times, people with those types of things. But I do still believe a lot of those people are just really genuinely good people, just going through hard times like everybody else goes through. And, you know, I think that is a big misconception that is what our industry is. You know, and I think a lot of times we get a bad rep, like we're a bad industry because we're full of guys that like to drink or guys that like to do drugs. And I think at the end of the day, that's not actually all that accurate. And, you know, it does leave a huge opportunity, fortunately for us, where if we know how and we have the right tools in our salesperson toolbox or in our company's toolbox, then we should be able to convey who we are, what we do, and how we do it in a way where that person really wants to do business with us, right? And I think that's kind of the biggest opportunity, as much as it's, you know, people think it's just a bunch of drug addict alcoholics that do roofing. Well, the nice part is the bar's set low for us, and then we can go over the top, right? We can differentiate ourselves. We can tell them who we are, who our company is. We can tell them about what accreditations, who are the billion-dollar companies backing us, right?
Exactly.
And when we're able to do that, it's like, oh, you're not the misconception that everybody thinks about as a roofer? Well, awesome. I'd love to hire you. And you know what? Not only do I have this insurance claim, but I'd like to upgrade my house because it seems like I could trust you to do that kind of work. I think that's a huge part of what's going on right now.
Yeah. Well, like, you know, you said just about, you know, these private equity, you know, they're moving into this, you know, this space for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so, you know, money follows money. Right. So it's like they're into this because like, wow, but how do you make money? You have to be doing it right. Right. You have to be personable. Like sales is still such a big part of it. You have to have those guys out there that are going to, you know, in some way guarantee that people are going to want to continue to work with you.
Yeah.
And so if those, you know, these private equities are like construction, all right, let's jump into that. And it's like, oh, wow. Yeah. Because, you know, there's a lot of companies that I will say out there that are, you know, like me, like you, that are trying to do right, you know, and although there's that bad rap of like the whole storm chaser thing, that's like so far and few between nowadays. I
don't know any contractors that leave town. I think there's so many hailstorms that they work in there, and there are still the ones that travel around a bit.
Sure.
I just don't think there's a ton of them anymore. I think that a lot more of them are just like they're there, they're set up. But a lot of them just kind of, you know, some will just focus on just that insurance work, which is good. But I think that, you know, being able to differentiate over to some retail definitely makes it a safer business, you know, safer for the contractor because they get steady revenue, steady work for their employees, and then, you know, steady for the homeowner because now that contractor isn't possibly robbing from Paul to pay Peter because all he does is insurance work and there hasn't been a hailstorm in a while. I think it helps. What's something that you think we need to see more out of from contractors, you know, and maybe even, you know, I think you guys are starting to get a little more into Hardie board, seeing that. What do you see as your guys are starting to get into Hardie board? Like, what do you think we need to see more of from contractors?
But not to keep harping on education, but like the education part of it, you know, going out there and showing them, hey, this is all that you can do with XYZ, right? Like it's not just your trim that, you know, I guess I should actually rephrase that. It is like how much we can do with just your trim, rather than saying, you know, after I take it for granted, it's just your trim. But for a homeowner, like that trim can out pop, right? You could put, not just get off from Hardie, but like you could just put, if you're going to go with vinyl, just put some LP trim, right? Yeah. Something that pops, something different, right? And I think it's, again, just educating them on that. Like, hey, you know what? You're right. Maybe you don't have all the money in the world. Yeah. But there's still options, you know, and we can help you, guide you through that. But if we're not educated on that and we don't know all that and we're not looking at every one as just a dollar sign, I think that's probably the biggest one that I think if most industries are doing. And then helping each other. Yeah. Because the only way that I can make sure that I'm better is if everyone's better, right? You have to elevate that game, right? You know, if my competition isn't good, well, then at some point, probably I'm just going to get stagnant because I don't need to be like, you know, I want everyone to do good. Yeah. You know, if we're all, you know, and I'm not saying drive prices up, but if everyone's at a chase to the bottom, it doesn't do anyone a service. Like, you know, it's, you know, at some point, obviously everything levels out, right? That's just how the economies work. But it's just like, why can't we all try to do it together opposed to, you know, like, you know, you said something about robbing Peter to pay Paul. And I mean, that's probably the biggest thing I tell any contractor that I meet, or especially back when I was at ABC as an outside sales rep there, is don't ever get into a thing about, you know, robbing from Peter to pay Paul, because that's going to be the downfall of you, man. Like, and, you know, it doesn't take a lot to get into this industry. So for people that might be out there that want to do this, like, you know, we talked a little bit about it. It's not rocket science. Like, this isn't this like thing. It's, you know,
we're not building spaceships for SpaceX, right?
You know, does it take time to like learn it? Yeah. You know, there's some education there, and I you know, there's some really good programs out there that you can get educated on. You know, there's people like you that are like making it a point in your life to go out there and say, hey, you know, I'm passionate about this education part. I like this product. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, you don't work for Hardie. Yeah. That's exactly. I think that's where this thing is like, because he likes what he does, you know, he's passionate about what he does. And I mean, again, there's a whole philosophical thing about that. We can go down like, you know, do what you love and, you know, you'll never work a day in your life, right? But that's true. Like, I love going to work. Yeah. You know, and like, I know contractors that I don't think they do. Yeah. And I think that's unfortunate. Like, that's sad, you know, like, I want to get home to my kids and my family, but I'll be honest, some days are hard because I'm just having fun. It's not, I have fun with my family, but at the same time, like I get to work with some of my best friends.
Yeah.
I get to help people every day. Yesterday it's freaking 75 degrees outside, and I saw some, there's multiple contractors in an area that got hit with a storm, and we had a lot. Our phones are blowing up, and that's great that we have that. But we're out there, and you see people that look miserable.
Yeah.
And it's like a storm just hit. These people are looking for you for help. We're out there with like me and my buddies, my friends. We're having fun. It was just yesterday, like again, a bad event happened, but you try to find that silver lining.
Yeah.
Dude, I hadn't had that much fun. In a while, man. I was like, and for people, it's out on roofs, man. That's what I did. I was out looking at aluminum siding, busted up roofs. And it was like, man, you miss that stuff. I do things like this now. I have to help run a company.
Yeah.
But man, yesterday I could clearly say I had so much damn fun just being out. But again, like and you got the guy thing, just being out with the guys, just working, man. It was, but that's it. Everyone was happy, and that feeds your homeowners, right? So it kind of comes back to, if you don't love what you do, and there's contractors I know personally that they don't love it.
What do you think we need to see less of in contractors and in this industry?
The ones that are less educated, man. Like again, I'll say it, just man, that's the guys that do think that they can do it. I know I just said, hey, this isn't hard to get into if you do it the right way. It's the ones that want to jump in and be like, oh, I can do this. That want to leave the company. They've been doing it maybe a few months, and then they go out there, and it's like, obviously it's still a business, right? You're still running that, and it's the guys that just don't know. The guys that cut corners, I will say that's always something that when I run into that, like it drives me nuts when contractors don't know. When I hear people that talk about, I had somebody out there that didn't mention my soffit vents. I'm like, your house is literally baking itself. That's why your shingles are messed up. Like, I can't help you with an insurance claim. Like, whoever built your property built it wrong, and maybe it was an old practice or something like that, right? Or that's the one thing that really irritates me is that, and I can't even say it to this point now, going into my 6th year, that they were lying. I don't think they take the time to learn all that stuff. It's that I know how to put on a roof. I know how to change out the siding. And it's like, did you know your ventilation is causing more damage than anything else here? Yeah. And it's something as small as that, that kind of stuff. Like, they don't know the full, they don't know all that encompasses what they do. Yeah. And it's again, I don't know everything. That's why I wanted to meet you, right? Help me learn. Let's talk. Let's bounce ideas off each other. But like that, and like, again, going back to that me mentality also is not talking to other contractors, helping them out. It's because there's still people out there that I know, again, personally, that, nah, dude, figure it out. And it's like, how does that help anybody? Yeah. So those are probably some of the biggest ones that like, that me, that greed mentality that, oh, I can do this. Right. And it's just, that ain't it.
Yeah, that's not getting
that ain't, yeah.
Yeah. And that's what people hire me to basically educate them. Like you're saying, it's like, what I try to do is I try to help contractors avoid those major pitfalls, because at the end of the day, a contractor, we use the analogy, a contractor is going to burn his hand on the stove. We're going to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. We're human. That's the one thing about construction that's very common is construction includes humans, and humans make mistakes. Oh, yeah. And so what I try to do is help them educate themselves so they can avoid making major mistakes or creating enough pain where they don't want to do something like Hardie board anymore when it really isn't that hard to do. But if you don't know what you're doing and you haven't educated yourself, then it makes it really challenging. For sure.
I agree.
What do you have advice-wise for people looking to enter the industry?
I love that question. So if you want to get into this, get on YouTube, get on Google, and like research what this is. Like whether it's, storm related and, insurance, that aspect of it. If it's just like, hey, I like working with my hands and you want to be in, let's say, the field, and you want to actually build the roofs, like you can learn all of this stuff. Honestly, like you can pretty much learn almost anything in general in your life on like YouTube, but just take some time and like, if you fall in that rabbit hole and you catch yourself an hour later, like, damn, I've been watching all these videos, then maybe you're thinking you're on the right path, but just like learn what all this is, like learn that you're, it's still a business and that there's a lot more than just putting on a roof and putting on siding, and maybe you're the greatest salesman, But, you know, I tell a lot of contractors, you know, if you don't have enough money up front, like save, man, like dial it back, you know, save some money, have enough for like 2 full projects. Like, and it's hard now, right? Like everything's changing. There's price increases going on right now, which again, we're all from the same industry. Right now, it's literally happening. And so I can't tell you exactly how much that is, right? But like you have to ballpark that in your area, you know, find that 80%, like where are most homes that I'm hopefully gonna be working at, kind of valued at. What would it cost to change, you know, this 20 to 30 square house, and then lean on the side of the more expensive and have that money there, because like we talk about, you know, things go wrong, you know, there's going to be a problem, especially if you're brand new to it. Right. Maybe you're like me, you know, the 1 year I was at Romans myself, I was paying double what I should have been for like my soft metals to somebody.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm looking at it and it's, again, full transparency. I'm paying someone, you know, $6. I didn't know I could only been selling it for $3, and they're not going to tell me.
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't know that, right? Like I said, I've been doing this. I know what I used to sell it for, so I knew I was making money.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that I was losing money in the long term of it.
Yeah.
And so it's, you know, things like that, like hopefully that you can meet somebody and talk to somebody that knows more. Because I did. I talked to people I thought I could talk to. And you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And they know who they are. And that's funny because like some of those people are probably going to see this. And it's like, yeah, dude, you know what you did.
Yeah.
Like you knew I was here by myself trying to help grow this company after having to let go of all these people. And it's literally me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not mad. I'm not like upset about it. Cause you know, I didn't know what I didn't know. I've learned, I've grown.
Yeah.
Again, we're a great company now, but it's like, don't be that guy. Like, don't be those people.
Yeah.
You know, that just can look you in the eye and like, know they're taking advantage of you, right? Yeah. Because of just your own ignorance. Yeah. You know? So that's, I think, a lot of it. But just, man, have the money for a couple projects. Be willing to ask questions. Don't be scared to turn down a job. Like, dude, you'll get another one. I know money's probably tight and you're worried. And I did it too. I took on jobs that either I probably shouldn't because of just the complexity of it, or probably a waste of time. But it was, hey, it's a couple bucks. You know, I got to pay some of these bills. But it's, you know, sometimes more is less.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, less is more. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. You know, like sometimes less is more, and it's couldn't be any truer. You know, find jobs that you're capable of doing. You know, go and talk to one of these supply companies. I think that's probably a super
great starting point.
Like, oh yeah, overlooked approach. Just hey, go in there, ask for a rep, and honestly, you'd be like, hey, I'm really thinking about getting into this roofing and siding.
Yeah.
And they'll talk to you about it. Like that's like a lot of those guys come from our industry or have been doing it long enough, right? Again, if you're good at something, you're probably going to be doing it a while.
That's right.
And I think that's a huge one. Go talk to them because, you know, maybe you do run into an area where there's only 1 or 2 other roofers and yeah, dude, they're not going to help you. And it's because, hey, it's a smaller market. Maybe they can't honestly afford it, right? Maybe that part is true. Like, man, I can't. Well, go find someone that can, you know, get on the internet, you know, there's forums now. I mean, there's like, invest in yourself, you know, maybe before you get into it, you know, there's like, we talked about Dimitri a little bit, right? Like he's grown this big platform, you know, there's people like Deshaun Bryant and like John Scenic. There's all these guys in this industry. You know, we just had Deshaun Bryant up here and help train us, you know, and there's so much education out there, right? Like you can go, you know, go spend $500 on yourself if that's what it costs. Like, and I know you're like, you know, heck man, I only got 2,000. Yeah. Well, dude, before you go change possibly your life, put your family in debt. Like again, like there's so many variables, right? Like go spend that money, go talk to a guy that's been doing it. Yeah. And just get that information.
Create a sales process, create a production process, create things that'll make your life so much easier. You'll profit way more.
Exactly. And you know, sometimes spending money on the better option is better than going the cheaper route. I will say that. And I've learned that. CRMs, again, I'm not saying it's go spend the most expensive one, but like find good quality equipment, you know, like that, like your nuts and bolts of how you're going to operate. Yeah. Because it's, again, like these PE companies are coming in. So that means other industries are looking at it, right? Like now there's all this AI stuff. There's all these things coming in. They might not be great. Yeah. They might look great. Yeah. It might not be great. But I think some of that is some of the advice. Again, I could go on and on. I'm sure you and I could talk about it.
Yeah. What would you like to promote? You've got the platform here. You can say whatever you want. You want to promote Romans? Is there anything you want to promote? Any special causes?
You know, I of course want to promote Romans. You know, this is a small company that's getting a little bit bigger. I don't know how big we're going to get. At some point, we're going to plateau. But no, just we're in Hobart, Indiana, and we went from about $1 million company with our initial owner, Jeff, who then brought me in, who then we dropped down, to selling 700,000 because we had to let people go and make better business decisions, right? And then, I do that for a year and a half, and then we get some people that I used to work in this industry with that are close friends and, colleagues, some of them were, and it's like, hey, we have this opportunity and it's just me and I need help. I can tell you the phone's ringing. I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
I can't get to everybody. I'm just one guy, and hiring people's hard, getting, again, one of those things where I said, less is more. Sometimes because I can't afford to train you right now. Like it's the middle of August and I've got builds going on that I have to oversee. I can't do it right now.
Yeah.
And that, I had guys that were like, all right, let's go to this Cubs game and talk. And then, less than a week later, we're all right, let's sign some papers. Let's all become owners and let's do this.
Yeah.
And, it's, what's today? So yeah, today's the 9th. It was the 8th last year, day after. So one day is when this all started. This all kind of was like, hey, and a couple of my buddies were like, let's do it.
Let's get it.
And from May to December last year, we did $7.2 million.
That's huge.
And that's a fact. That's on our books.
Yeah.
And so it's, for the people that are out, again, going back to that, where it's like, can you do this? You can.
Yeah.
I've made calculated risks. I've taken time to learn. I went from being an adjuster. I was licensed in Illinois, doing that and just being a canvasser, helping make somebody else a bunch of money.
Yeah.
To having someone say, hey, here's the keys. I'm an attorney, man.
Yeah.
Meet many people that, especially men, that are humble enough to be like, hey, man, I'm good at this. I'm not necessarily good at that. Will you help me?
Yeah.
And then, I did that. And so, I guess some of this, is like me boasting out about the company, about the people I work with and, the trust that they had in me, Jeff in particular. And then my other, colleagues, for them to leave a place that they were making money at. Again, there's, reasons for that, right? We don't need to get into, but it's like, to also have trust in me to like, I'm not going to bring them somewhere that's going to be bad. And then for us to get together, and I'm sure people might say, I've seen other videos where we talked about it, but like last year was crazy. From literally May to December was crazy.
Yeah.
Like it was remarkable, but it was a bunch of like-minded guys that had the same goal. And, now we have this company that's doing really well. We've helped a few hundred people in a very short amount of time. And it's, that I think that's one thing that I am super proud of. And I love boasting about it. And that I want people to hopefully see that, like Romans Roofing, we want to be a destination.
Yeah.
We want it to be a destination for people that want to work in this industry. And also obviously for our customers, like we want to make that experience like great. We don't want it to be a headache, right? We want it to be fun. Like you're spending 30 grand for this Hardie project,
Absolutely.
that's another big thing, that we're proud of. We're working with Hardie right now to get to that next level, right? We're not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here saying that we are.
Yeah.
But we've done quite a few Hardie jobs. Obviously we're good enough to where people see our work and they want to invest in us to do it properly.
Yeah.
And I can say that I'm proud of that, but it's to get to that next level, you got to take the time to meet with people like you, meet with our reps and all that. And, that's something that I can say I'm super proud of. And this our trajectory of where we're going, we're shooting for 20 million this year.
Yeah.
And it sounds crazy, but man, we've got that infrastructure. We've got those guys. Like we've got that team here.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's been super gratifying. It's been super humbling. A big thing that I will, I'm sorry, it's very long winded, but we really do try to give back, this September, maybe it would be August, but it's going to be coming up in a few months. We want to do a whole give back. So like here in Hobart, we want to do like a back to school drive. And we've already brought it up to like our suppliers and everybody. And it's like, hey, it's not an ABC versus Beacon. It's not a GAF versus IKO. It's not a Hardie versus LP. We want everyone involved because we want to, we're so sincere about it. We want to make this like a thing here at our office here in Hobart. It's at 238 Main Street. But we want to just give back. Like we're talking backpacks, folders, like anything the kids need.
Yeah.
We want them to be able to come in and just get it. And there's no prior, I'm sorry, I can't think of the right words. Like you don't have to fill out something to get involved. No, hey, just come in.
No prerequisites.
Exactly. We're going to have it set up. And, we want to do that. Cause like I said, a lot of us came from, those, like you talk about our backgrounds, where we might not have had that, like, so a lot of us here, we try to give back the best we can. And we know going back to school, maybe you want that cool backpack or that like folder, whatever the hell it is. Like we want to just be able to have it. Like it doesn't matter what you have, what you don't have. Like we're going to hopefully have it for you guys here. And so we're in the background trying to set that up, and we want to make like a huge like drive for that.
That's awesome.
And we've already mentioned, and the best part is where I don't think, again, it gets recognized a lot is all those suppliers, all those vendors that we utilize, you know, for our day to day are all like humble enough to be like, you're right. It's not about us. It's not about that, you know, that bottom line about will you buy from them and buy from, no, it's like, you guys want to do that. We want to be involved to help give back. And I think that's, goes to, you know, our suppliers that we use and our vendors. And so like, that's been a big thing that I do want to promote. We don't have the date yet because we had to still get all the scheduling from the schools and that, but like, that's going to be a big thing. We wanted to, like a little assembly line, man, bring your kids in, get your school supplies for the year. And we think that's going to be a really fun way to give back to our community here. And so that's a big thing we're going to push.
Yeah, certainly gives, you know, contractors and roofers a different look when they're doing, you know, activities like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
We donate to like the Tri-Kappa stuff here. We try to donate to, we spend I think it was like $1,000. I know it might not be crazy to some, but again, we're a brand new company to the Christmas drive, you know, and I know all of us, and I will say us owners and all that might be in a different spot. Like we all personally donate to our towns for that, like, because I was that kid that had to go, you know, give presents from the church or whatever it was. And it's like, I don't see anything wrong with that if that's what you have to do. So like, I can now give back to that. And I think that's like
full circle.
Dude, it's, and that's what being in this business has like afforded me. You know, I've talked about a lot of that, like, you know, more emotional, like sentimental stuff, but like, that's what it's done for me. That's what I'm able to do. And I think that's like talking about, you know, what are these stereotypes or things that can change like that. And it's not just us at Romans, you know, there are other contractors that do give back. And it's like, I want people to know that there are people out there doing the right thing, you know, so don't let some of those stories you heard from 10 years ago from some fly-by-night crew or whatever. That's just not what it is, man. That's just, it couldn't be any farther from the truth. And, you know, we're here in Hobart and we're trying to help Hobart. You know, that's just our background here. And, you know, there's other contractors that are out in LaPorte. They're helping people in LaPorte. And there's people out in Crete, Illinois. They're helping people in Crete, Illinois. And it's like, look at those signs at your kids' little league thing, you know, like that. Yeah. We're doing it obviously for that, you know, it's hopefully that we maybe get a phone call off that. But it's also because like we want to give back to the community. And I think that people overlook that. And it's not, you know, for BS reasons. Because like I played Little League. You know, I did that as a kid. My son plays here. It's like we want to help out. And I think that just really hopefully grasp that, you know, that we're in the same communities as you. We want it to be. Yeah, and I know you're looking maybe a little bit like, duh, but it's like people don't always see it that way. Man. And, you know, that's just that, you know, here at Romans, we really do try to give back and help. And we want people in our backyard. You know, we do service all in Northwest Indiana. And, you know, maybe if we can't do an event in your town, but if we can, or if it's for a good cause, we will. We donate to things in Valpo and Crown Point, you know, Hammond. We just donated to Lake County, their police officers. They're doing like a bag, and I'm sorry if I get it wrong, Gabby. Shout out to Gabby, Jeff's niece. But, you know, like, of course we want to help out that. You know, it's a special needs for like autism. They're doing with something. I don't have all the details in front of me, but it was like 100% be happy to help with that. And for these police officers to have, and it's like, it's not a red or blue or, you know, rich or poor or any of that stuff. It's just, you've said it multiple times if we talk, it's just about people helping people. And that's what I think, you know, that's my shout out, man. It's just, that's what we're about here at Romans. That's who the people we associate ourselves with are about. And yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I know you're a busy guy, and I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me, talk about all this good stuff. And, you know, I look forward to sitting down with you again in about a year and see where you guys are at with everything and all the great things you guys are doing. Because you're clearly putting a lot into your community. You're putting a lot of effort into your work. You care about your customers. So, you know, you guys are going to continue to be successful.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. And thank you again, coming up here, taking time to sit with us, you know, hear our story, hopefully get that out, you know, and hopefully we can help promote you a little bit. And hopefully in a year, you're doing the same. Cause like I said, we try to be with like-minded people, and that's what's so fulfilling and so great about this. So, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate it.
Awesome.